good evening. Yeah. Please sit down. So, how was your day? Good day? So, let us straightway go to the text. Verse number 6, है ना? Verse number 6. Recognizing wealth to be ephemeral and insubstantial, practice right giving towards monks, Brahmins, the poor, and spiritual friends. There is no better friend than giving. This text में लिखा है ना, in the next world there is no better friend than giving. But in the root text, meaning is correct, but the root text doesn't have this word, in the next world. The root text just says, there is no better friend than giving. So the wealth or your possessions to be ephemeral. I'm sure you have a lot of examples of how they are ephemeral. I'll give you one example based on my own experience. For a monk, normally people, especially my sister, gives me shoes. ये तो बाजार में नहीं मिल रहा है, तो give me shoes. So sometimes I have shoes more than I needed. And then, stingy as you are, you are not able to part it away, thinking that one day I will have it, one day I will need it. So एक दिन क्या हुआ? There was a shoes a little bit high heel and long, this thing. So then I said, this is with me for so long, but there's a young, staff in the library. I said, इसको दे दूँगा आज. So I went and gave it to him, and then I said, try to wear it. He pulled hard, and the sole came out. It's like that, If you store and keep things more than you need, then either the bugs, or the moisture or dust, whatever, they will enjoy. Enjoy in the sense that it will be destroyed. So therefore you need to ask this question, how many shoes? You need to not ask question, but you need to explore how many shoes I have. Then you ask next question, how many feet I have? No, I don't mind you are having few pairs of shoes, but because of advertisement, you need these shoes to go to bathroom, otherwise you will sleep and die. You need these shoes for, hiking. And then based on that advertisement and plus your greed, you end up having at least 10, 20 pairs of shoes. It came out in the newspaper, one chief minister was having 2,000 pairs of shoes. Not necessary. So, I did not name. Recognizing the wealth to be ephemeral and insubstantial. Practice right giving. Giving. सिर्फ लेना नहीं, देना भी सीखो. Not only receiving, but you should also learn how to give. And giving is not easy. It may be your hard-earned money or cloth, whatever, a precious gift from your friend, thinking like that, you keep on storing. So there is a story of a great Tibetan teacher who was also stingy like any of us in the beginning. And he was a kind of student of Buddha Dharma and reading text. So he realized his stinginess. Then I said, this is very bad. I need to right away start practicing. But he was not ready to give anything to others. So he took something in the right hand, give it to the left hand. Then left to the right to the left. Thereby, he was mentally training, and then gradually he became a great practitioner. So therefore, many of these teachings, they say, I will not talk about the benefit of giving, but I'll talk about demerits of holding, बटोर के रखना. जैसे चूहा करता है ना चूहा, like the rats, go around and then store, and then finally die. Really, even while we are alive, you should really check how many things are there in your room which you have not used, but how many people are there who don't have anything to wear. For them it's a luxury. For you, just burden keeping there. Okay? So recognizing wealth to be ephemeral, and if you don't give it, somebody will take it. Somebody who is called sister will take it. Somebody who is called wife will take it. Somebody will take it away. And when you die, of course, you have no control. Everything will be taken by others. And even when you are alive, you keep more than what you need. Income tax people to hai hai. Lene wala to hai hai. So, right. So, I will not spend much time. Recognizing wealth to be ephemeral, impermanent, like our body and everything, and insubstantial. Because if you just hoard and keep things, it is of no benefit to others. And then the truth is, sooner or later you have to get separate from those things. And they will not give you long-lasting satisfaction. Therefore, they are insubstantial. Practice right giving towards right giving. Now, giving doesn't mean you give everything. Right giving. For example, if you give knife or poison, that's also giving, right? But people might misuse it to kill others. Right? So, right giving. So, right giving, meaning that to whom you are giving, how you are giving, the object you are giving, all these three things should be seen as having no inherent independent existence. With that understanding of emptiness, you should give it. That's the right way of giving. And then giving also, not giving thinking that, oh, bechara iske paas kuch nahi, this fellow has nothing, I am rich man, isko leke jao. That's not right giving, because you are looking down upon other people. And in the text, in one of the Madhyamika texts, it said, the great bodhisattvas, when they hear the cry of the beggar begging, that's the most delightful voice anybody can hear. Somebody is in need. I have this opportunity to give. They feel so happy. Hamari tarah nahi, it's not like us. When we hear somebody begging, we'll say, again the beggar has come. Not like that. So there are stories of great bodhisattvas who even offered their eye to those who are in need. Right? And then the object to whom you should give, it says monks, Brahmans, the poor, and spiritual friend. Monks means not any monk. Brahman also not any Brahman. The right practitioners, monk or Brahman, who really dedicated in helping others, dedicated in serving others, engaged in their really personal meditation, things like that, those people you should help, not anybody. Otherwise, there may be so-called monks and Brahmins who are not working and who are parasite in the society. Don't encourage them, don't give them. Okay? Brahmins, the poor, of course, you easily understand, and spiritual friends. There is no better friend than giving, because through the practice of giving, not only you will, be happy, it is now scientifically tested. Who is happier, the giver and the receiver? Interestingly, they found the giver is happier. Actually, we may be thinking that receiver should be happy because the receiver gets something and the giver is losing something. But scientifically tested, and they say the giver is happier because you get that satisfaction. And in order to get that satisfaction, you need to have the genuine love and affection to others. Just like giving something to your dear brother, sister, something like that. मैंने अपने भाई को दिया, बहन को दिया, उससे satisfaction होता है, something like that. Okay. There's no better friend than giving. So he's talking a little bit about the 6 perfections. So next is morality. Rely on morality which is undiminished. Morality, there are many types of morality. rely on morality which is undiminished, undeclined, unmixed, and unstained. Morality is the foundation of all virtues, as is the earth for all things animate and inanimate. So when we talk about practicing or observing morality, you should practice a morality which has four characteristics. Four characteristics. The first characteristic is a practice of morality which includes the fundamental practices and related branch practices. If all these are there, then that is called undiminished, complete practice. Second, undeclined means even if you are practicing this undiminished moral practice, but if you don't have the power of the antidote, counterforce, then your mind may be again disturbed by negative emotions. And your morality will also become weak. So therefore, with the use of antidote, you will be able to practice a morality which is undeclined. Right? Next is unmixed. Unmixed means while you observe and practice morality, at the same time you should do other virtuous practices like meditation on ugliness to counteract against attachment, meditate on loving kindness and compassion and interconnected reality. So by meditating on these other aspects of antidote, this will help you, your morality not mixed with afflictive emotions. That is the meaning of unmixed. And unstained. Unstained means if you undertake the practice of certain morality, right? Because for example, in order to gain some popularity in this world, you adopt certain hypocritical attitude and you observe some kind of morality to get free food, free clothing. करता है ना भाई कई लोग साधु साधु बोल के ऐसे घूम रहा है कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, like that. So that kind of practice of morality is adulterated, stained by worldly concerns. So therefore it is stained. So your practice of morality should not be stained by worldly concerns. And if you undertake certain practice of morality so that you get a little bit better rebirth in next life, that also is a little bit stained, because next life also you will be again in the samsara or kahin nahi hai. Right? And then on top of that, if you are a Mahayana practitioner, then you should not aspire only liberation just for yourself, but aspire to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then the next a practice that is related to the cultivation of faith, because we are primarily talking about cultivation of faith right now. And by relating to the cultivation of faith, if you are to practice a special or uncommon Mahayana practice, then as a causal factor, you engage in the practice of the 6 perfections, which leads to achievement of Buddhahood. So therefore the next verse says, giving, morality, patience, diligence, concentration, and likewise wisdom. These are the 6 perfections. Perfection of morality, perfection of giving, morality, patience, effort or diligence, concentration, and wisdom. Develop these immeasurable parameters, and having crossed the ocean of existence, become the Lord of Victors. I don't know, no need to spend a lot of time here. So that means when it comes to practicing the six perfections, don't limit them. Don't limit them. Giving, for example, whenever possible, give to everybody in all directions as much as possible. Similarly, morality also. It is not that you practice ethics and morality here in India, but if you go to America, then, oh, this is free country, you live a different life. No. Wherever you go to America, Russia, China, wherever you go, you are not beyond samsara. You are not beyond suffering. So it should not be limited to a particular place. Morality. Patience also. It should not be the case that you are very patient in India but very angry in America. Patience should be practiced everywhere. And in fact, practicing patience is not that easy. And concentration. As I mentioned earlier, concentration is the source of success, both in war and in peace. Without concentration, you are not going to achieve anything. Whatever activities you are doing, if you concentrate, you will enjoy. When we speak about the need to have concentration, many people ask the question, Geshe, yes, I want to concentrate, but I am not able to concentrate. Kya karun? Then I answer them by saying, you are not able to concentrate because you are not enjoying what you are doing. The best method to concentrate is enjoy. When you enjoy something, even if people say stop it, you will not stop it. Just like mobile phone addiction. True or not true, I don't know. There was a clip going on where three daughters were, you saw that, yeah, addicted to mobile phone, and then the parents came and took the mobile phone, and then the three sisters went inside and locked the room, and then said, Papa and Mama, we are very sorry, but we cannot live without the mobile phone. Can you imagine saying something like that? I cannot live without the mobile phone. Can you imagine something like that? Yes, because when you are addicted, to anything, it's very difficult to stop it. For example, we are very addicted to all kinds of afflictive emotions, anger, jealousy, hatred. For many lives we are addicted. Because of that, it is so difficult to give up. Your teachers will tell you, the texts will tell you the destructiveness of negative emotion, but you are not able to give it up. So unless, therefore, when it comes to doing spiritual practice, unless you take some initiative and make some effort, you will not be able to do it. Because many of these spiritual practices are really like talking about living in a different world. And you don't want to go to a different world. You are happy with what you are. Because this is the only thing you know. Right? So therefore it is very important to make special effort in developing concentration. And especially in today's world, there are so many distractions. So many. And likewise wisdom. Develop these immeasurable paramitas, and having crossed the ocean of existence, become the Lord of Victor. Become the Lord of Victor means become Buddha. He is called Lord of Victor because he is the one who had gained victory over negative emotions. Right? Then the next verse says, any group or member, here he uses the word family because the word family means in Hindi it's called gotra or jati. But otherwise you might understand this family as we normally understand. So here basically saying any group, any member who venerates father and mother, will be attended by Brahmins and teachers. Its members will be praised and renowned, and later enter the higher stages. So that means whichever group or member you belong to, but if you are belonging to a class or group or somebody or a society where there is respect for the father and mother, respect for the parents. Respecting your parents is respecting the Brahmins. Respecting your parents is respecting your teachers. How? Because once you pay respect to the the parents, that clearly shows that you are not only respecting the parents, you are also somebody who pays attention to more highly spiritually evolved people, like the Brahmins or teachers. Right? And then in another sense, your parents are like the Brahmins and the teachers. And in fact, they may not say, I'm your teacher, but much of you have in your life is normally learned from your parents, from their experience. So therefore, and then this is very important, because now we live in a society where there's not much respect to elders and parents. At the most they'll give some money, but not give love and affection, unfortunately. And in many so-called developed countries, if you have money, then there are so many, again, almost like 5-star kind of buildings where these elderly people are sent, because the children don't want to look after them. And I know one story, there may be many such stories, this one story. I was traveling with one Tibetan doctor, and he said, Geshe, let us go, and it was in, I think, Sweden. He said, let us go and see one elderly woman. She used to be very supportive of the Tibetan cause. And then we went to see her. She was having asthma, and she had 2 robust grown-up children, boys. And you will be shocked to know the boys on and off come to see whether he is dead or alive. They are after the wealth, the house. I'm not making it up. Such is the extent of moral degradation. Right? So therefore it's really important, at least in countries like India, still there's a quite good respect and veneration to the parents. But now here also things are changing. When people's minds get crazy, they do come up with so many stupid things. Once I was teaching in Mumbai many years back, and I saw a newspaper clipping which was going viral, because it said there is a young boy who must have been suffering, and he said, I'm suffering because my parents gave birth to me. So I hate them. That's what he said, you see. So if you think negatively, everything will be negative. We are encouraged to think positively, because if you think positively, you will benefit, others will benefit. If you think negatively, you will suffer, others will suffer. So there are people who think like that, you see. So therefore, respecting elders and parents is very, very important. Verse number 10. Abandon. So occasionally, if you want to become a monk, become a monk. If you don't want to become a monk, if you want to take the Upasaka vow, take the Upasaka vow. If you don't want to take that, if you just want to take one day vow, then we call it Upavas. Take that, Upavas, which is 4 branch practices that you need to do. He is talking about that. Oh, no, sorry. I need to read before that. Okay, Upvas, that 8 branched. Upvas has these 8 branch practices, which says, abandon the various forms of harm, thievery, sex, falsehood, liquor, desire for untimely food, high seats, delight in songs, dance, and jewelry. So that means for one day, just for one day, you observe this vow where you try not to harm others, especially taking other people's life, or engage second, stealing and robbing other people's thing, taking what is not given to you. Third, sex. Fourth, telling lie knowingly. So these 4 practices are basically a branch of practice of morality. And then refrain from liquor, drinking, because this is a branch of maintaining heedfulness. Because when you drink liquor, you get intoxicated, you will naturally be very heedless. And likewise, desire for untimely food. Matlab, after dawn, you take food around the lunch time, then until next dawn, you don't eat anything. Then also to reduce your arrogance, don't sit on very high throne. Human beings are very interesting. If you sit on high throne, again you get puffed up, So anything that boosts your arrogance, you should avoid. Similarly, singing, dancing, putting perfumes on one's body, and adorning yourself with different rosaries. That's what I'm telling, This is almost like going against the the worldly way of life. Because what the text is saying, all this will induce attachment, grasping. So at least for one day, try to live without doing these things. For example, with the food, it is very important once in a while do fasting. Once in a while, if you do fasting, it purifies your body. And then through fasting, if you get hungry, you will know what it means to have hunger. But otherwise, you just keep on eating. You have no idea what is hunger. When you see people dying with hunger, you will not get any idea what it means to be hunger. And for the body also, once in a while, if you fast, the body gets an opportunity to restore many of its deficiencies. There is a Tibetan saying, Mini thamji sini, tane thamji yugni. That means all human sicknesses are sicknesses from food. This is especially true today. Now we have so many types of food, junk food, packed food. Junk food means those packaged food which primarily contains sugar and salt. This is called junk food. And because they are packed nicely, so we think it is good. Because your tongue tastes nicely, so you think it is good. So in this way we are killing ourselves today, unfortunately. So you need to change that habit. So observe this 8-branch vow for one day. Next, next verse is talking about the benefit of such practice. I don't agree with many of these translations. When I read this, then I really get inspired that I should do a fresh translation. This must be a quite old translation, something like that. It's okay, but maintaining the 8-branch posada, I don't think it is posada. It is upvas. It is upvas. Posada is a practice that we do after every 15 days. The monks do that. But this is not talking about posada. If you possess the 8th branch upavas in emulation of Arhat's moral practice, the Arhats who have destroyed negative emotion, just follow their example and do this practice. And through this, you will also get an appealing body of a desire realm deity. So therefore encourage other men and women also to practice it. So this translation is a little bit rough. So he's basically saying, by observing this upavas, removing those that needs to be removed, restoring those that needs to be restored, you will get an appealing body of a desire realm deity. Right? Now we are talking about heedfulness. In order to discuss about practice of heedfulness, there are 5 points here. The first thing that you need to do is, you should make effort to guard and protect your mind with heedfulness. Protect your mind with heedfulness. View as enemies stinginess. पंडित का मुट्ठी बोलता है हिंदी में इसको. When you are not able to share things to others, पंडित का मुट्ठी. View as enemies stinginess, cunningness, deceitfulness, attachment, idleness, not just idleness, laziness, pride, lust, hatred, and conceit of caste, physical appearance. You get arrogant because I belong to this caste, that caste. That's why one of the teaching of the Buddha was, caste is not important, family is not important, what you do is important. Buddha actually revolted against the casteism that was there in India. And in India we still have this casteism. Therefore Gandhiji came and said, Harijan. Otherwise we say, oh, you can't drink from this well. Shudra ne ganda kar diya. There are many unfortunate segregations in our society. I remember once visiting Ladakh, and then Ladakh also there is some group treated as outcast. So they are basically drummers. On a festival, they will all be sitting there beating the drum. So they are treated as outcast. So one day His Holiness went straight to this group, sat with these people and started beating the drum. And then he said, okay, now you throw me out, I'm also outcast. I mean, it's all stupid, And those people who kill millions, nobody says outcast. Right? Conceit of caste, conceit of physical appearance. Physically, if you're a little bit okay, then you get again arrogant. And then learning, if you're a little bit more knowledge than others, you get arrogant. If you're young, you get more arrogance. And great authority. When you have authority, become a president, a prime minister, or even a leader of small company, you get arrogant. Actually, the leaders should be really humble. According to Buddha's teaching, the so-called Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are actually servant of sentient beings, servant of people. They are not there to rule us and control us. Right? So as a leader, you should be happy because you are getting this opportunity to serve others. Right? So this should be seen as your enemy. Then what are the advantages and disadvantages of having heedfulness or heedlessness? The Muni means Buddha. The Buddha declared, not mindfulness, the Buddha declared heedfulness the way of immortality, the heedlessness the way of death. Thus constantly and respectfully be heedful in order to develop virtuous dharma. Because if you are, the Buddha said this, because if you are heedful, then you engage in spiritual practice. Then you purify your mind and gradually achieve the state of Buddhahood, which is a state of immortality. If you are heedless, this is the way of death. That means if you are heedless, then in Hindi बोलते हैं ना मनमानी करते जाओ तुम, अच्छा बुरा का कोई कुछ नहीं, there's no sense of what is good, what is bad. You keep on developing all the negative emotions and so forth, and then this will lead you to fall into the samsara and maybe hell, death in that sense. Right? Thus constantly and respectfully be heedful in order to develop virtuous dharma. Now when said this, some people might say, okay, then what about those who were heedless for a long time? Is there any hope for recovery or things like that? If you ask such a question. Then it says, those formerly heedless who later become heedful, not mindful, those formerly heedless who later become heedful are as beautiful as the moon freed of clouds. Example is like Nanda, Angulimala, Ajatashatru and Udayana. These 4 examples. Nanda was, I think, one of the Buddha's relatives. And he was so lustful that even Buddha encouraged him to become a monk and put in the monastery. He was always thinking about women. And in the walls he would write down the picture of a woman, things like that. And he feels very sad and lonely, not being able to go with the women and always shedding tears and sitting there. It's possible. Not just a story, it's possible. There are many such things happening in our world. Then Angulimala, he met a wrong teacher who said you should do human sacrifice. If you kill 1,000 human beings, you will achieve such a spiritual height. Then poor fellow, this is the reason, this is why blind faith is so bad. So because of this, he kept on killing people one after another. He already killed 999, and he was looking for the last one to be killed. And on that day he was unable to see anybody. Then finally he saw Buddha walking slowly. Then he thought, okay, here you are. Then he started chasing Buddha, stop. Buddha was walking slowly and he was running fast and chasing. Somehow he was not able to catch up. Then he shouted by saying, don't you realize that you are being chased by Angulimala, the dreadful dacoit, robber? Stop. Then the Buddha said, it is not me who is not stopping. It is you who is not stopping. So these days I tell this story of Angulimala to the rest of the people. We are really like Angulimala. We keep on going, doing all the bad things, not stopping. So the Buddha stopped and said, it's not me, it is you. Okay, come. Okay, I'm here, I'm standing, come. Angulimala was very shocked because he was very notorious and very well known there as a dreaded kind of dacoit. So this person, the Buddha, was fearless standing there. And he somehow felt at his feet, dropped that sword, and then started questioning things like that, and he get transformed. So even if you are heedless like that, you can change and transform. Then Ajatashatru, because of his bad friend, his friend said, your father and Buddha, and his father was, I think, Bimbisara. So he said, your father and Buddha, they have same longevity of life, right? So unless, or maybe I'm mixing up this story. Okay, forget about this story. So anyway, his friend said, you need to kill your father. So he killed his father, Ajatasattu, he killed it. Having killed his father, which is a very heinous crime, he sank into depression. And then, being helpless, he asked people what to do now. Then people suggested the only person who can take you out of this depression is Buddha, so go to him. So he went to Buddha. And then the Buddha said, so what? Father and mother are to be killed. Nothing to worry, father and mother are to be killed. So because of this, he got back to his senses and came out of the depression. And when he came out of the depression, then the Buddha said, come, I'll explain what I said. When I said father and mother to be killed, I'm not talking about the physical father and mother, I'm talking about ignorance as the father and negative karma as the mother. Because these two, ignorance and contaminated karma, they produces all kind of other negative emotions. So with this teaching, he also achieved a very high spiritual level because of big repentance. Then Udayan was also another lustful person who always thinking about women, his girlfriend. And many times his mother tried to stop him. And because of this, he got so angry, he killed his mother. So even these people who were so heedless, later out of repentance and regret, were able to purify their negative deeds. So therefore, the important thing is not to commit any negative deed, and if you have committed some negative deed, then the next important thing is to regret and repent. Just like you have swallowed poison. As Milarepa says that if you are really thinking and concerned about purifying some negative deeds, then the best is to regret. Galti ko galti manna. Okay? And then he says, especially when it comes to practicing heedfulness, you need to be specially heedful in eliminating anger. There is no austerity like patience, so do not allow opportunities for anger. By overcoming anger, the Buddha promised one will attain the irreversible stage. There is no austerity. In terms of spiritual practice, many spiritual practitioners undergo a lot of hardships. Jumping on a trident, piercing their tongues, burning one of the fingers in the fire. People go to many extent to do certain kind of hardship practices. But when they are asked to practice patience, they are not able to do it. For example, there's a story of a king and his entourage members going into the forest for an excursion. Then in the forest they found one practitioner, a monk, in a meditative posture. And then the king asked, what are you doing? He said, I'm practicing patience. Then the king said, if you are practicing patience, eat my shit. Then he immediately said, you eat my shit. So we are not able to tolerate. Patience, some kind of physical hardship we are ready to undergo, but when it comes to practicing patience, it's very difficult. Therefore, there is no austerity like patience. So do not allow opportunities for anger. By overcoming anger, the Buddha promised. For example, in your daily life, if you are a very hot-tempered person, try to remain cool without getting angry for 1 day or 2 days and see the result. The calmness that you create in the home, calmness that you have, the proper sleep that you get, so many benefits. Your blood pressure will come down, so many things. I said this many times. Right? Now, the reason that you are not able to practice patience is because you are maintaining resentment. Getting angry is bad, but getting angry is to some extent okay. If you get angry and then give up, then forget, don't remember the wrongdoings of others, then it's okay. But the problem is, you get angry because you have this resentment. This is what is said in the next line. This person insulted me. This person struck me. This person overwhelmed me. This person stole my wealth. Such resentment generates conflict. One who abandons resentment sleeps well. You cannot sleep with resentment. The whole night you will keep on thinking the wrongdoings of that other person. And you will keep on thinking, how should I repay back? In my capacity as the director of the Library of Tibetan Works and Archives, I'm actually quite lucky. We have around 60-something staffs working under me. Most of them very, very good. But sometimes here and there small things happen which induces some kind of frustration. Or without knowing, some people might be doing something wrong against me. And then immediately you get some kind of frustration. But then because of these teachings, I think again, it's okay, He has every right to get angry. He has every right to say bad things. And whatever he has said, if it is not with me, then why should I worry? And if it is with me, then I be careful. He is a good teacher, highlighting my faults. And anyway, you cannot silence everybody. Let them say. You are not Buddha, you are ordinary human being. There will be limitations, but you be honest, try as much as you can, and then forget. Well, let other people say. If they say I'm a Buddha, I will not become Buddha. If they say I'm a dog, I don't have to bark. Right? It is the duty of other people to say something. कुछ होना चाहिए ना चर्चा करने के लिए. There should be a subject. The subject is other human being. So understand that. And then, if you learn the art of dialogue, even if somebody is saying bad thing or whatever be the reason, somebody is getting angry, and then already because of this friction is caused and some distance is created, then you need to, without getting angry, you need to make sure that you approach that person, don't run away from that person. And there are beautiful ways of engaging in dialogue. For example, if that person is a little bit angry with me, then you go to him and say, can I borrow your pen? He may be very angry, but he will never say, I'll not give you my pen. So just by hiring this pen, you are creating a connection, Actually, it's not that difficult. We have to learn that art of dialogue, you see. Anger, we also get angry, right? So this is what he's saying. So don't think about, the wrongdoings of others. Because if you continue to hatch ill will, you will never solve that problem. Then the next one is the instruction about maintaining heedfulness by examining one's own conduct and other people's conduct. Now, in order to be heedful, examining one's own conduct, you should train in heedfulness by looking at the objects of engagement of your mind, and also train in heedfulness by examining the conduct of your speech. So in the first case, the conduct of the object of engagement of your mind. Understand thoughts are, yesterday somebody asked the question about thought, right? So understand thoughts are like paintings or drawings. Here he uses the word designs. Understand thoughts are like designs or paintings or drawings. Drawn in water, one. Second, on earth. Third, on stone. For an afflicted mind, the first is bad. When it comes to the negative emotions, the first is bad. Meaning, when it comes to the arisal of thoughts like anger and jealousy, then it should be like drawing on the water. Because when you draw something on the water, as soon as you draw, it gets erased, disappear. Or if not possible, at least on earth, it will stay a little bit long, but not so much. But it should not definitely be like carving on the stone. Then it will stay for a long, very, very long. And when it comes to doing good things, it should be, for a religious mind, it should be drawing on stone. Your spiritual practice should be good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, like carving on the stone. If not, at least drawing on earth. It should not be like drawing on water. Then, with regard to your speech, the Jinnah declared speech to be of three types: pleasing, truthful, and improper, like honey, flowers, and filth. Abandon the last of these. That means when it comes to our language and speech, it should be, number one, pleasing. Whatever you say, it should delight the mind of other people. So that is like honey. Your speech should be honey. And if not possible, then it should be like maybe a little bit bitter, but truthful. Truthful. Then that is like flower. But contrarily, if you engage in improper language, then it's like filth. There are people who, as and when they open their mouth, they create unhappiness in the mind of other people. This tongue is not made of stone or anything, it's made of flesh, but it can destroy other people's heart. Right? Then training in heedfulness by observing one's own conduct and also the conduct of other people. So therefore he is saying persons are of four types. Those people who go from light to, in the text the word final is not there. It simply says those who go from light to light, those who go from darkness to darkness, and those who go from light to darkness and darkness to light. Be like the first of these three. So you should go from the good way of life to good way of life. I don't have to explain this very much. Okay? And therefore you should view people like mango fruit. In the case of mango fruit, some of the mango fruit unripe but appears ripe. बाहर से बहुत अच्छे दिखता है ना कई लोग. Some people, they are wearing suit and then looks nice, carrying a big smile, but inside completely rotten. Thinking about, especially those cheaters, they'll come with a big smile. So, unripe but appears ripe. Ripe which appears ripe. This is slightly better. Outside maybe not very polite, but in the mind, deep down, there is no harmful or ill will wish, So that's much better. Unripe which appear unripe. Worst. Bahar andar dono sara hua hai. And ripe which appears ripe. Excellent. Because generally speaking, people who are really mentally nice and relaxed, you can really, as we say, face is the index of mind, you can figure out. Some people, just if you look at their eye, their facial expression, to some extent I can figure out, okay, this person is quite happy person. This person is manipulative. You get some inkling of idea. Then, maintaining heedfulness by not getting distracted to sensual objects. Out of many types of sensual objects, one of the most risky is sexual misconduct. Therefore, be heedful. That's what he's saying. Gaze not upon another's wife. Gaze not upon another. When you're going somewhere, you see some people, there's nothing you can do. But as an Edigna, gaze upon not another's wife. If you look, somehow it is within the purview of your eyesight, regard her as mother, if senior to you. Or younger, your daughter. Equal age, sister, according to her age. If still lust arises, it happens, still lust arises. Thoroughly contemplate impurity. Then you should think, why I am getting so much lust attachment to this woman? Because the reality is the so-called beauty is skin deep. You know the next line after this? Beauty is skin deep. Ugly goes all the way down. This is the complete line. Beauty is skin deep, ugly goes all the way down. This I am not referring only to women, men, women equal. If you take this skin out, blood. And after that, bone. And then especially go down all the internal organs until to the marrow. कुछ भी नहीं है. Of course, easier said than done. So therefore you should be specially heedful in guarding your mind. Guard the wavering mind. Chanchal man बोलते हैं ना. Guard the wavering mind like knowledge. If you get, it's very difficult to gain knowledge. Once you gain some knowledge, it's important to preserve it. Keep it fresh, otherwise you will forget. Or guarding one's children, sons. Or guarding treasure. And of course, one's own life, you have to guard your life all the time. Renounce sensory pleasures, for they are like cruelty, poison, weapons, enemies, and fire. Sensual pleasures. The whole world is running today, chasing the sensual objects. And because of this, the pollution that we see around. Right? So many bad things are outcome of chasing the sensual objects. Therefore, the Lord of Jina said, lust is like the kimpaka fruit. It creates conflict and should be abandoned. This shackle binds the world in the prison of samsara. So Lord of Jinas means Buddha. And Buddha said, lust is like the kimpaka fruit. I could not figure out what is kimpaka fruit. I really wanted to see the fruit itself. Anybody have idea? Kimpaka fruit. It is said to be a fruit available in India, and it's said to be a fruit which is very attractive outside, very beautiful. But when you eat it, number one, taste is horrible. Number two, if you eat it in the morning, evening you are dead. If you eat in the evening, tomorrow morning, you will be completely sleeping and not waking up. So that kind of explanation is there in the text. But I really wanted to see, these days, if you are able to show it, that's the end of the story, So anyway, and also in the world, you see, anything that is very attractive and beautiful, be very careful. I may be not absolutely correct, but in some of the desert areas, the poisonous plants, they bear very beautiful flower. I don't know why. Right? So similarly, in order to attract some other, the opposite sex, you need to show that beautiful part, beautiful cloth, beautiful smile, whatever. That itself may not be, bad thing, but it's a kind of tendency that is prevalent here and there. But if you go after that too much, you will get into problem. That is what he's saying. It creates conflict and should be abandoned. Conflict. For women and men, wars have been fought. Killings have been done. Then for money and wealth, it's happening right now, killing. Why Russia is coming into Ukraine? Why American president is interested in Venezuela? These are all after wealth, you see. So many examples are there. Neighbors killing each other. Huh? Almost every day something comes out in the newspaper. It creates conflict and should be abandoned. Because there is a saying where it says, if you don't carry a heavy load, no thieves will chase you. It says only when you have something to carry, people say, okay, looks rich, Look at his mobile phone. This guy seems to be rich. Then they chase you. So therefore, as much as possible, not to unnecessarily display the things that you have. This shekel, this is a fetter. This shekel binds the world in the prison of samsara. So true. So true. जंजीर बोलते हैं ना, इसी जंजीर में हम लोग सब फंसा हुआ है, जंजीर. So therefore, victors over the 6 ever unstable and wavering senses, and victors over a host of enemies in bandit. So there are 2 victors. In other words, there are 2 brave people. One brave person who gains victory over his senses. Another brave person, courageous person, who gains victory in the battlefield. So which one do you think is the real hero? The one who gains control over the 6 senses, running towards object, is a real hero. And the person who gains victory in the battlefield is, in the true sense of the term, not a hero, because he is just killing people. And Shantideva says, no need to kill people, they will die. Right? Victors over the 6 ever unstable. Our 6 senses, not just the 6 senses, but especially the thought induced by these 6 senses. The 6 senses themselves are not moving. They're just like the window through which the thought goes. The 6 senses, when exposed to certain things, then it is chased by the thought, okay, when the 6 senses see something beautiful, I need to have it. The thought says, I need to have it. Victors over the 6 ever unstable, kabhi nahi rukne wala. And especially now all these malls and other things are springing up, wavering senses, and victors over a host of enemies in battle. And victors of enemies in the battle also, is a funny thing. If you kill one person, it's called murder, right? If you go to the battlefield and kill hundreds and thousands, you get a hero's welcome. Dushman ko khatam kar diya. 10,000 dushman khatam kar diya. He's a hero. If a poor guy, shortage of food, etc., kills somebody, murder, criminal. Right? Very funny. If you kill one person, murder. Many, hero. If you copy from one book, plagiarism. If you copy from many books, research. Now, especially when it comes to practicing heedfulness, you should give up attachment to women. Ladies, don't get offended, because you will encounter such teachings regularly in Bodhicharya Avatara, Nagarjuna, Ratanavali, and this text is tolerable, not so much. Because in those days, these teachings were primarily given to the monks. It's really not saying that, women are unclean, men are very clean. It's not saying that. And in fact, here and there you will find a line having explained it, then say, look at your own body. As a man, look at your own body, you are similar. Okay, so don't misunderstand this. So therefore, in order to remove that attachment to women's body, a young girl's body false smelling. Is that right? False smelling thori hai, aajkal to wo chirag do sab kuch. Good smelling. False smelling, possessing 9 holes, human men also possess many holes, containing filth, जो मैंने बोला था ना filth, नाक से क्या आता है? कोई हनी थोड़ी आ रहा है यहाँ से, कान से क्या आ रहा है? हनी आ रहा है क्या? Same, men, women, same. So it's basically, this is not saying you are hopeless, your life is useless. Contrarily, we say your life, human life is precious. Human life is precious because especially you have this amazing intelligence to develop many, many good qualities like bodhicitta. But if you look at just the body itself, there's really nothing much. It is fragile, it's impermanent, it's impure. It's impure, that's why we have to wash it so many times. We need to use, sands and things like that. If it is perfect, then we don't have to use those things. False smelling, possessing nails, containing filth, difficult to fill. Difficult to fill means if it is a husband or wife, then wife, in order to give that wife, you need to give food, clothing, so many things. Similarly, men also. It doesn't come value free. That is the meaning. Difficult to fill. Although adorned by skin, view it otherwise. Although the skin looks okay, relatively okay. Hai na? Skin, why skin is looking good? Why this is covered like this? Why we are not exposed with all the fragile internal organs? Why? Why? Those of you who attended my talks earlier, I said this. Packaging. Packaging. Anything that is fragile, even in the modern system of packaging, anything that is fragile is packed nicely. So realizing by nature or whoever that human body is fragile, so it's packed nicely. And inside the internal organs, how fragile they are, I really don't have to explain. How the heart functions, how the lung functions, how the kidney functions. If you are somebody, so therefore, it's really important. I strongly encourage you to watch some of the short documentaries, how the internal organs function, to really understand what the Buddha is teaching. And if you understand how the lungs function, how the breathing takes place, how the kidney functions, you cannot just pop up everything in your mouth. खट्टा भी चाहिए, मीठा भी चाहिए, ये सब मुंह में नहीं डाल सकता, because the inside is so fragile. If one of the small tubes are blocked, then you will have difficulty breathing. And because we don't know this, we only know the skin, so okay, डाल दो सब मुंह में. And these days we don't even have time to, chew things nicely. You know the formula of this chewing? They say, chew the liquid and swallow the solid. That's the formula how to eat food. Chew the liquid. Looks stupid, huh? Liquid ko kya chew karna hai? Dal do jaldi se. Meaning that even if it is liquid, you just don't swallow it like that. You need to roll it on your tongue and taste it. Mix it with the saliva. It's by mixing the food with saliva you get the taste. So the real digestion takes place in the mouth, not down in the stomach. So when you don't digest it properly and then swallow it, then the person working downstairs, they said, Choro, udhar se kam kuch nahi kiya, sab niche bhej diya, छोड़ दो. Really, it's happening like that. Then you get sick. So therefore you need to chew it. 20 times, 30 times, whatever, there is a number. You need to chew it. Chew means chew the liquid and swallow the solid. The solid ones you should chew it so much so that you can swallow it. That's the formula. So that's what I'm saying. Although adorned by skin, view it otherwise. And the reason that the text is saying that you should have some contentment with sensual objects, don't chase them. The reason is that unless you maintain some kind of satisfaction voluntarily, desire is endless. Understand the desire for sense objects is like a leper's craving for comfort. Lepers, when they get this leprosy or any other kind of thing, then when you scratch it, you get a little bit kind of sense of comfort. But if you do it more, it will become worse. And this is why I visited this leprosy center in Madras many years back, which has 77 or something branches all over India. So when you get this leprosy from this bug called leprae, then that part which is affected loses the sense. And then you just, mishandle it, whatever, then the fingers fall out like that, you see. So understand the desire for sense objects is like leper's craving for comfort, tormented by maggot. Maggot here means that leprae. He relies on fire, but is not soothed, is not really healed, right? This is like enjoying any other sensual objects. For example, if you engage in drinking, temporarily you feel it's so good, but it's actually consuming you. Oh, less time, yeah? But it's time. Oh my God, time has gone much. Okay, stop here. Ask some questions. We're only 15 minutes now. Any questions?
One very simple question. Original language of this text?
Original language must be Sanskrit.
Can I ask a question?
Where? Oh, yeah.
So I have a very brief question. I just need to ask, like how to detach from attachment.
Detach from attachment.
When you fall in love
This
with
is
someone,
like asking
it's very difficult to detach.
how to detach from obsession. Similar, how to detach from obsession, how to detach from attachment.
Any practices?
You can maintain kind of detachment from attachment by seeing the destructiveness of attachment. The problem with all this kind of negative emotion is that these negative emotions will make you immobile. For example, if I develop attachment to this one, if I like this one very much, then my mind goes into it and get stuck there. My hand is almost like holding it. Now see, I thought I got it, but I can't move. My hand is not free now. So therefore, attachment restricts your freedom. For example, if I ask you a question, why don't you take poison? How can you maintain detachment from poison? You can maintain detachment of poison by seeing the destructiveness of poison, that it will kill you. The more you see the destructiveness and negative side effects of negative emotions, the more you will be able to distance yourself. and remain detached from themselves. The more you see qualities into those things, the more you approach it, come closer, and might get stuck into that. Right? Okay, next question. Yes.
Geshe La,
Yes.
can I ask a question? You talked about giving, but that was more about materialistic things.
Yeah.
What about human relationships, giving and receiving? Apparently, there are two kinds of people in the world, givers and receivers. At some point, you have to draw a boundary because givers will keep giving and receivers will keep receiving. Do you think it's important to draw boundaries?
It's important. That's why I always cite this quotation from Kamala Shila's Stages of Meditation. You may have not heard about this, Kamala Shila's Stages of Meditation, which I had the fortune of translating it into English. So there is a line which says, when it comes to human relationship, it should be like our relationship with fire. If you go too close, it will burn you. If you stay too away from it, you will not get the warmth of the fire. It's very, very important. Very important. And then, especially in terms of man-woman relationship, before you make relationship, take time. The teacher-student relationship also, we always say, take time. It should not be like a dog meeting piece of meat. If a piece of meat is thrown in front of the dog has no time to waste and taste. Okay, I'll taste. No, I'll immediately jump and eat it. So this is what we are doing. We immediately jump into it. Oh, this man is so handsome. Oh, this woman is so beautiful. Then without taking much time, you jump into it, thinking that if I get this one, I'll be happy, my life will be happy. And what actually happens is, after a while you say, oh, I made a wrong choice, divorce. Then you say, oh, I made this mistake, but this one is really going to stay forever. Then make the second marriage. It's happening actually. Then third marriage. And the problem is you keep on changing wife, changing man, changing furniture, never changing yourself. So unless you change yourself, you cannot get that good relationship. Right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Geshe La.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, thank you very much for the second day. One is an explanation for Kimpaka fruit. I checked up. Kimpaka fruit is like mango. It looks like a ripe mango, but it is poisonous.
Yeah.
But interesting thing is that Kimpaka fruit is also a medicine. It is used in medicine, in homeopathy, and also in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
This is one.
Very good. But I want to actually see the fruit.
Yeah, but don't eat it. And the other thing is that Kimpaka is also used for a group of deities in Buddhism. I think that you'll have to check up from the research.
What?
Deities.
Acha.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that's what it says.
Okay.
Now the question which I'm asking is, I was rather pained by this 25th stanza, where young girl's body is so much, denounced and criticized.
I already explained.
Yeah, I know that, but another question comes up out of this is that love. Love is also a very divine emotion. And if love is a divine emotion, how can you deny
Love
a woman?
is, when you say love is divine emotion, you are talking about pure, unconditional love.
It happens all the time.
Not the business love. Not the business love that we always cultivate as an ordinary person, unfortunately. Our ordinary love is, unfortunately, very, very contaminated. If you have divine love, okay.
That means all women are not bad.
Who is saying all women are bad? Nobody is saying. The text is simply saying this is the reality. And I explained it very clearly. By this explanation, we are not at all hinting or saying man is good, women is good or bad. We are not saying this is the reality of your body, this is the reality of my body. So reduce attachment, that's all what we are saying. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Next question.
You said about swallow the liquid and the solid should be, swallow the solid and chew the liquid, you said.
Yes.
But what are teeth meant for then?
Huh?
What are teeth meant for then? Teeth.
What are the?
We are given teeth, 32 teeth.
Yeah.
What are they meant for?
Yeah, they are for chewing the solid. Yeah. You did not listen carefully. The meaning behind swallowing the solid means you chew it to such extent that it is then possible to swallow. That's the meaning behind it. Any other question? You now want to run away? Yeah.
So like this text and like even in Buddhist teachings, there's a lot of value placed on the teacher, monks and parents.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even remotely disputing that.
Yeah.
But my question is that it is also happening that a lot of people without processing their like working on their emotional state and their negative emotions,
Yes.
they have children and then they pass on. There's instances of child abuse, be it physical violence, sexual violence, emotional violence. So how does then this this idea of respecting parents, like how does that shape
That's
itself?
in general, respecting parents, teachers, in general, meaning that good teachers, good parents, that's the connotation. But it's not at all, giving a blank check, saying that respect all the stupid person, even among so-called monks, even among so-called Brahmins, even among so-called, parents. There are many crooked people, many nasty people, because of their past life habit, circumstances, whatever. They are also suffering. I'm not saying they are not suffering. So we have to be careful, naturally. But then question is much deeper when you ask this. I mean, when you are very small, young, somebody abuses you, how can you confront that, you see? So these educations are given to little bit people who can think. And through that we should try to create a society where these things doesn't happen. Otherwise that innocent child cannot, defend himself or herself. Yeah. Yes.
One question. You mentioned that patience is a key to success, or say
Yes.
it's a very important thing.
Yes.
But for how long a person should be patient? There should be some timeline or something? Or what is the, the art to reach that patience?
I am aware of the line which says patience has limit. Whether you like it or not, the reason that you are encouraged to practice patience is that whether you like it or not, life is full of challenges, full of difficulties, full of problems. Unless you have some kind of patience, you will break down. And the example given in the text is, look at the fisherman. With the hope of catching some fish, he has to, with this flat head, sit by the side of the sea the whole day in the scorching sun. He has to have patience. If he doesn't have patience, how he is going to catch even one fish? Then look at the farmers. How much patience they need to undergo by, especially I've seen this, farmers who do the rice farming. The whole day they have to, with the bare leg, they have to stand in that water, and with their legs and feet are beaten by all kind of insects and things. They have to, just to get that crop, they have to have some kind of patience. That's what it's saying. But, having said that, there is a patience called misplaced patience. Even in the case of compassion, there is 6 misunderstandings, we call it, which means misplaced patience, misplaced compassion, misplaced hard work. So if somebody is unnecessarily bullying you, which is not benefiting you, not benefiting him, still you say, I have patience. That is stupidity, not patience. So therefore it is important in terms of practice of all this, you need to have this discriminative awareness. Yeah.
Can I ask, what is forgiveness? And does forgiveness mean reconciliation of the relationship?
Forgiveness means not continuously remembering the wrongdoing. Therefore we say forgive, but remember the names. So that is remembering the names, not to revenge, but to realize what has happened. But don't keep it in your mind, thinking that he did this to me, I should revenge, I should seize the opportunity. That is wrong. Okay?
Any more questions?
One, maybe last.
Geshe what's the advice for people, who sort of spread hearsay and, try to do some mischievous acts just for the fun, like they're doing it for fun or maybe, out of compulsion, but the receiver, should they forgive them, or what's the way to do with them?
You see, you need to accept this fact, as I mentioned earlier, that you cannot get enlightened in one day. And you cannot silence everybody's mouth. And you need to understand, people, when we talk about people have so many different temperaments, so many mental dispositions. You won't believe how some people live. Not acceptable, very difficult to accept. But they are conditioned in such a way, through the genes that they had inherited or whatever be the situation. So it takes time, right? So therefore, we should think, while we as much as possible try to address the issue, but the most important thing is think about a long-term solution. Therefore, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is saying that whatever I am doing now, I am not doing that so that the success, the fruit, I am able to see while I am alive. This is for many generations to come. Because our mind is like, if I use scientific term, then our brain is wired differently. So you need to rewire it. Change your way of thinking. It takes time, because the society, unfortunately, because you are not bold, you are not strong, so therefore you go the way the society is going. And you should think carefully where the society is going. Where are we? We are all in the samsara, not in nirvana, enlightenment. So how much you can expect from the ordinary people, you see. So it's not easy, but not easy doesn't mean you can't change. Every small bit, every small effort can make an impact. So therefore our hope should really be for the younger generation. Give them good education, good way of thinking. But that also is unfortunately a little bit uphill task, given the overwhelming impact of the modern technology like artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, And then there may be some benefits here and there. I'm not denying that. I'm not trying to turn the clock back. But the negative effect is so strong, especially when you give your mobile phone and other gadgets in the mind of young kids. Very dangerous, because their mind is just developing. So in the Buddhist teaching and also in the scientific finding, they say, for example, there is immediately after the birth, the child is not even able to speak. Why? Because the connection is not made. Now, what kind of connection you want to make? First, simple connections. Papa, Mama, these are necessary things. Then gradually, as much as possible, try to make positive connections. Patience, love, harmony, things like that. If you repeatedly expose the kids to that, they'll pick up. Meditation is also doing the same thing. Get habituated with the positive things. Meditate again and again. So the brain science and the meditation. Once I read this Transformation of Brain, a book, I was so thrilled, exactly like what the Buddhist meditation is teaching. So that's really important. And then as much as possible, create trust, love, genuine love. Extend your helping hand so that gradually the society will change. And in order to change, we all have to start making that effort. We just can't wait and someday things will become better. No, it's not like that. You have to create the atmosphere. If we are able to create atmospheres, saying that in that Lodi, road area, people are so nice, or in the India Habitat Center area, people are so nice. If we are able to create their vibe, that vibe will also spread to other places. Examples are needed. That's not so forthcoming, unfortunately. For example, we come up with a habit of not throwing any garbage in this particular locality. Then everybody, if they are not stupid, they'll see, India Habitat Center is so clean, so nice. We should also do the same thing in our area. So examples are needed, right? Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow and we'll start at 7. Thank you.